Hey Kids Club, it's me and Milky. We are here for week 3 of Kids Club. It is so good to see you and connect with you online. Now,
Hey, can I say something too? Hello kids!
yeah, you can, Milky. Now, Milky, the kids can't see and I'll show them in a second, but what do you have here?
Oh, I've got some milk! Yeah!
Yep, so we've got this cup here, which you can see is a lovely brown colour.
Oh, yum!
This pinky red colour.
Yum!
And this yellow colour.
Oh, yum!
Now,
yum! Milk! Triple milk! Yum!
Now, Milky, what
Wait,
flavour?
hold on. What's better than 1 glass of milk?
3 glasses of milk?
Yes! 3 glasses of milk!
Alright, Milky, what's going on with this glass? Tell us a little bit about this one. It's the yellow one.
Oh! Yeah, I'm a bit colourblind because my fur is grey.
Yeah.
So that one is banana milk. Yum! Have a taste.
Mmm.
Yum!
I love banana milk. Yeah, that's really nice. And what's this one here?
Oh, yep. That's a good flavour.
Mmm.
Yeah, strawberry milk. Yum.
I love this one. And then I'm guessing, wait, don't tell me.
Okay, this one's a good secret.
Chocolate milk.
No poo milk. Yum!
Oh.
No,
Milk.
it's poo milk.
Why would you have banana, strawberry and boo milk?
Oh, because sometimes you gotta have some gross flavours to go with the nice flavours.
And why have you been making flavoured milk? I told you it was about favour, blessing this week.
Oh, blessed favour. I thought you were talking about God's flavour.
Oh.
I thought, he's got lots of good flavours.
Yeah, no, I was talking about God's favour, which is actually what blessing means.
Oh, cool.
Well,
What does that have to do with anything, Johanna?
Well, that was a bit gross, but how about we go and meet Lyndall and then we can come back and we can explain, well, I can explain to you and the kids what we're learning this week.
Oh, cool. Sounds good. Let's go meet Lyndall.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hi Milky, I'm Lyndall. I'm one of the leaders at Kids Club. I'm glad that you're joining us for Kids Online. I know when you meet people, you like to ask them 3 questions, so I'll answer them for you. My full name is Lyndall Jane McKay. I am 36 years old and my favourite drink is vanilla milkshakes. It's nice to meet you and I love that you love meeting people. Remember that this term we've been meeting God in the Bible. I just wanted to tell you that in the Bible there are stories of real people experiencing God. God speaks and acts directly towards people and those real people meet God. I hope you have fun learning about that this week. It's good to see you. Bye.
All right, Milky, did you enjoy meeting Lyndall?
Yeah, she was cool. Hey, do you remember what her favourite drink was?
It was something to do with
Vanilla
milk.
milkshakes! Yum!
I'm glad that she didn't say chocolate milkshake, otherwise she might get surprised if you
Yeah,
made her
well, if
one.
I made her a brown milkshake, you know what she'd get.
Ah, I know. Now this week, Milky, we're learning about blessing, but we're not specifically just learning about blessing. We've been learning about the Bible and meeting God in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
And the first week we looked at how the Bible is from God.
Yeah, from God, yes.
And the second week we looked at that we need to listen to what God says.
Yeah, listen to God, yeah.
Yeah. Now this week we're learning that God talks to individual people in the Bible, and we're going to hear a story about a man that he spoke to, and he said some things to this man, and one of those things was a blessing.
Oh, cool. What's a blessing?
Well, like I was telling you earlier, and you got a bit confused, I said that a blessing is God's favor.
Oh, yeah. Favor, not flavor.
That's right, Milky.
Yeah.
Now, it was important for us to understand what blessing means, because when I tell you about the story and I tell the kids about the story, they're going to get a little bit confused if I just keep saying blessing. So we had to understand it first.
Yeah.
Blessing is God's favor.
Oh, yeah.
And this blessing in this story is a special thing that comes later on in the Bible. But how about you take a seat down and I'll explain a little bit more to the
take a seat
kids.
over here.
Okay. So this week we're looking at God talking to the individual in the Bible, okay? We've been looking at the Bible being from God and that we should listen to it. But the whole purpose of this term is for us to understand that God actually is talking to us through the Bible. And that's part of the reason why we needed to listen. God talks also to individual people in the Bible. Like Linda was saying, God talks to actual real life people. Real life people in the Bible have encountered God. They've heard his voice. Now for us, it's written down so that we can understand it. But in the Bible, there's different stories about God talking to people. Now this specific story that we're going to look at today is from Genesis chapter 12. And we're looking at a man called Abram, who later became Abraham. Now, Abram, he was a man who God spoke to, and God promised him 3 things. Now, God promised him land, like a place to live, and it wasn't just like a house or what you might think of land like just some grass. It was actually like a big land for a whole nation. He promised him family, which is a really important promise because Abraham was a very old man and didn't have kids. And his wife couldn't have kids, so that was a bit of a problem as to how that was going to happen. And the last one was blessing. Now, it wasn't just, here's a blessing, figure it out and try and work out what it was. It was a little bit cryptic and he didn't specifically say what that blessing was going to be. But I'll read it out for you now. It says, "Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." When we look in the Bible, we can see that that blessing actually was Jesus, God's favor to send us Jesus to die on the cross for us. God spoke to an individual person, and that individual person trusted God. Now, he never got to see that blessing. We get to receive that blessing, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty exciting. Now, those 3 things, land, family, and blessing, were 3 promises made to Abram. And Abram believed them, and they said that was a really important thing for Abram to do. In the Bible, they use a fancy term called "it was credited to him as righteousness." And later it's explained a lot in the Bible, but basically the main idea of that is because Abram had faith, that's what saved him, was that he trusted in God and God's ability to do what he had promised. Now, when we look at God talking to Abram, we can see that God is trustworthy, that God is faithful, and that we can trust him as well. But it is important to listen to what God is saying. It's not just something we can kind of go, oh yes, okay, God said this to Abram or Abraham, and God said this to this individual person in the Bible. It's important for us to really listen to what God is saying so that we can do what it says as well, like we learnt in James. But the most important thing for you to remember today, and what the story of Abraham is trying to teach us today in our teaching series, is that God actually speaks to individual people in the Bible. It's not just through creating the world that he speaks. It's not just through sending Jesus that he speaks. It's not just through prophets. But God has actually specifically spoken to individual people. Individual people have been able to meet God in the Bible. And when we look specifically at this story of Abraham, we can see that God is trustworthy. God has spoken, but we can trust what God has said because he keeps his promises and he's faithful. And so when we think about what we've learned earlier, that the Bible is from God and we need to not just listen, but we need to do what it says, then we kind of get a bigger picture and we can understand a little bit more about what God wants from us. Do you understand that, Milky?
Yeah.
Sorry, I caught you while you were sipping the milk.
Yeah, I was just chilling, listening, and then you said, what do I think? It's cool, man. want from me?
Well, what did you learn this week?
Oh, that God talks to people in the Bible.
Yeah, but this story of Abraham showed us that God was... Do you remember? God is...
God is faithful.
Yeah, God keeps his promises, and we didn't really look too much at the specific story, but by God being able to show us that he is faithful, it means that we can trust what is in the Bible. We can trust him.
Yeah, cool.
So when we think about, remember we were talking about James 1:22, and we were talking about not just listening to the word last week, but doing what it says.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could trust God?
Yeah.
Because God is?
Trust faithful.
I'm glad you're listening this week, Milky. All right, well, we better go, and don't forget to do your kids' activity booklet, and your parents have also got a parents guide that they have access to, and they can download a fun game for you to play and a craft for you to do, and they can see that in their parents guide, so that'll be fun for them to do.
Hey, can I do a booklet too?
You can do a booklet too, but first I think you need to wash up after your poo milk.
Oh, I'll just drink it. Yum.
All right, well, I'm gonna go brush my teeth and use a lot of mouthwash.
All right, bye.